Hi, I'm Brooke Bennett, and we are Global City Unity, unifying our community in entrepreneurship and entertainment. And today I have the pleasure of bringing you our very knowledgeable guests in entrepreneurship. We have Michelle Banks. She is a wellness and business consultant and the founder of Harmony Nutritionals. And we have Gerald Warren, who is a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine, and Howard Hill, financial consultant and advisor and owner of Hill Consulting. So, as you all are all aware, black entrepreneurship is so vital to our community, and all of you have such different experiences in how you got started and what you've come to do. And so Mom, no, I guess I'll call her Mom for the purposes of the show. I didn't bring you on here to show off my family genes, but to shed some light on your nutrition and wellness expertise. And I'd like to start with how holistic nutrition became such a passion and business for you.
Well, unfortunately, you never met your grandmother, but she was what started the ball rolling. Unfortunately, she was a diabetic, and she died from a diabetic coma for 6 months. And I swore that I would find a way to help people not suffer that way. I just didn't know how I would do it. So as my life progressed as an adult, I was introduced to chiropractic, and he started talking about nutrition, and that's what really healed me from one of my emergency sessions. So from then on, I was bit with the bug that I knew I had to make a mark, and I just did not know that natural nutrition and medicine was not going to be that well accepted in society at the time I started. So it was really an uphill battle. People just aren't willing or weren't as willing not to take their medicine versus to take something or eat something that's better for them, and to exercise. So now it's a different story 30 years later, but it still takes a lot of work if you're African American, and you might not have all the funding you want to be in business.
Speaking of funding, we have our financial advisor. Can you shed some light on, first of all, let's talk more about what you do specifically.
Yeah, my name's Howard Hill again, but I'm a certified public accountant. I'm a realtor in the state of Illinois. I've held licenses in insurance and a Series 6 license in investment planning over the course of time. So more so a business consultant by doing everything from taxes to financial planning to auditing to internal controls, consulting, managing businesses and practices, as well as finding investment for individuals, businesses, and performing the treasury function of managing the assets and the cash flow of a business. So broad range over the course of probably at this point about 35 years of experience in everything from multinational corporations to the state of Illinois to the state of California, federal government, city of Chicago, county of Cook, all those different types of entities providing financial services for them.
Okay, so how did you get into that realm of finance, and
well, initially
motivated you?
I wanted to be an accountant probably from the time I left high school, and I'm just tend to be an independent-minded person. And at the time, this was before the micro or mini computer or any of that business. So at that point, I felt I could go into business for myself with just a pencil and a calculator, and I could work for myself, and that was a big motivation for me. And I like numbers, so that's what drove me to want to be an accountant. I went to Northern Illinois University. It's one of the better accounting schools in the country, actually, not only in the Midwest. I didn't know that at the time when I went there. Came out, got my CPA, went to work for a couple of large corporations, got a lot of experience in that, started doing taxes and financial consulting on the side until it got to the point where I had to make a choice between one or the other. At some point I just said I'm going to take the dive in. And the biggest part is we talk about the global network and the global urban business. I got an opportunity to help and work with a lot of small, and my emphasis is usually on small nascent businesses. Where I'm starting with them and I'm setting up showing them how to do the business formation. Are you going to be an S corporation, LLC, sole proprietorship, what kind of tax structure you're going to have. And I found it's a big company, they have all of those accountants in line there. But a small individual usually doesn't have those type of resources.
Right.
So I found that I had success in providing those services to folks in our community, and many successful businesses and individuals who've been able to save and invest and build and maintain their businesses over the course of the last 35 years.
Right, right. And like Mom, you said, finances are usually the roadblock that people have.
Absolutely.
With getting better nutrition, they think they can't afford it. So Howard, how do you people that think finances are their stumbling block to either having their own business, or what can you provide? What advice can you provide?
Well, you've got to have a sound, any business, before you go into business and put any of your money on the line, you need to have a business plan.
Right.
And just like you need to have a business plan if you're going to you need to have a plan. In the book that we're talking about, writing about black male empowerment in the community, you got to know what it is you want to do and know yourself, and the next thing you got to have is an agenda or a plan. So in the business, the plan is a business plan. So you need to be able to project out, every month for the first year, month by month, and then most companies, before they loan you any money, they're going to ask for a 3 or 5 year projection on how you think you can make money. So most folks, unfortunately, you don't have an Uncle Louie to give you $100,000 or $200,000.
Right.
So there's a lot of sweat equity. So that's why you have very small businesses. But you got to budget, save your money, live frugally. One of the problems I see with a lot of, not just when I talk about small entrepreneurs, say somebody making less than $100,000 versus somebody who's making maybe $200,000 or $300,000. A lot of time in our community, we start to live beyond the means that we have. So if you have a business with $40,000 worth of profitability, you can't buy yourself a Mercedes and a $300,000 house, because most of that money is going to have to be plowed back into the business for reinvestment to grow it and develop it and nurture it. And I think that's one of the major stumbling blocks for small entrepreneurs who don't really understand the finance part of it.
Yeah. You brought up the book. I'm so glad you did. So let's talk about that. You're not an author yet, but you're currently in the process of putting together a book about African American. You can expound on that.
Black male empowerment. We're black men are probably the most maligned individuals in this culture. We've been enslaved, we've been lynched, we've been marginalized, we've been oppressed. We're the least of these. A statistic came out the other day that one out of 3 of us has been incarcerated. So we're at the bottom of the spectrum, in the socioeconomic spectrum in America. So I wanted to put together something, a guide for success for black men on this is what you need to do in order to become successful in America. And basically what I've said is, what I'd like to do in my dream is to have young men say, hey, I want to be a fireman. Let me find a fireman to mentor him. Then it's going to take, you may be on the south side of Chicago, you need to go to school. Let's find somebody to sponsor you through that process. Let's help somebody help you find a job, that sort of thing. So the book is going to be about giving them some advice, showing them a path, making them commit to some tenets in order for them to get help, and then following them through all the way to the end to success. Because we have a lot of programs, community block grants, and a lot of those things are necessary. But they're big programs and they lose the individual in the process. I want to focus on the individual himself. Let's follow this kid. Your church sponsor this young man. Make sure he gets a mentor. Make sure he gets a job. make sure he stays away from drugs, make sure he stays away from the criminal justice system. He would have to be willing to commit to that. Then that's if he goes to college and it costs $25,000 to go and he gets grants worth 18, somebody come up with the other $7,000 like it was your child, and make sure he gets through the process. Once he gets through college, let's make sure he finds the fireman again, gets trained for the exam. And even your kid, after they 25, 30 years old, they still need mentorship. So I want the mentor and the sponsor to follow the child all the way through the process. And so I want to be a guidepost for that, a manifesto for if you follow these tenets, then we'll find the people to help mentor and sponsor you. And I figure there's about 5 million young black men. If you gave them that kind of guidance and leadership, they would follow you. Some who are not, but there are many
Some
who
will not, but it's really, I'm really glad that you said that it would be a whole program.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people, there's a million books out there, self-help books, that tell you do this, do that, you know, but they don't really go beyond, you know, you can only do so much by writing the book. And
Right,
I mean,
you got a plan, but you got to put it into action. Just like a business plan,
Exactly.
you got a business plan. If it's sitting on the shelf, it doesn't do
Exactly.
any good.
Exactly.
You have to put it into action, and you have to understand the child is going to make mistakes just like your child would make a mistake. And you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. They need guidance.
Right.
You know, and with 70% of our families being headed by single-parent households, fathers are often absent. And for black males between 14 and 30, they need this. It's like any other kid out there. They're trying to figure out who I am, what am I supposed to do, how do I get through this process? And there's so many negative things that happen out there in our communities. They're being co-opted by the drug dealer, by the gang member, by the campus Malcolm X, by the preacher, by the politician. Everybody's using that kid for whatever they want them to be used for. So tenet number 1 in my book is you got to know yourself. Who am I? Am I fast? Am I slow? Do I like math or do I like science? You got to know who you are. And then the next thing you have to do is you have to have an agenda. You have to have a plan. And because, as my old pastor, Dr. Reverend Meeks would say, we as black people, we either headed to a storm, coming out of a storm, or we in a storm. So you're going to be knocked off course at some point.
Right.
So if you don't know who you are and you can't get back to some set point and then proceed again, people going to come and co-opt you, and you'll be in somebody else's game, somebody else's agenda. So know who you are, have an agenda, get yourself a job, get yourself educated. Those are the tenets of what the book is all about.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. I'm having the pleasure of helping you editing that.
The co-op.
Yes, it's a long process, but we're getting there. Dr. Warren.
Yes.
I just got the news that you're a grandmaster. You've become the grandmaster of Chinese Kung Fu.
That's correct.
You got to tell me about this. I don't even really know what that means.
Well, I'll kind of
Grandmaster,
digress and
how
go
is
back a bit.
Okay.
I'm a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine, so my realm of specialty includes acupuncture, acupressure, Tui-na massage, traditional herbal medicine and remedies, bone setting, and we also make paste and so forth. But one of the aspects of traditional Chinese medicine that's little known is that martial art was really, when most people think of martial art, they think of the combative or the self-defense aspect of it. But that's really one of the smaller. It's actually roughly about 10%. It's actually a prescription for better health. Because the exercises are designed to help the individual improve their body holistically, so that they don't just develop the body, but they also develop the mind, and they discipline the mind. And when you discipline the mind and the body, then you cohesively have then developed spirit. And so now you're working with all facets of the human person. So you're not dealing with just one dimension. And so I was recently promoted, in answer to your question, by my teacher, who decided at this point in juncture he's going to retire. And it was explained to me, well, you'll be taking over. So So it was dumped in my lap. And on the one hand, you're enthusiastic. On the other hand, you say, "What did he just do? Did he just throw another responsibility on me?" And it's okay, because when you look at it in retrospect, what he's really saying is, I have confidence in you, and I trust you enough that you'll carry on the teachings and the principles. And so essentially, this is how that came about.
Okay, and essentially a grandmaster, for those that are not
A grandmaster
Kung Fu,
is
what does
a
that mean
person who has studied at least 30 years or better, and it means that all people that have studied this particular branch of Kung Fu and Kung Fu are synonymous. In southern China, they refer to it as Kung Fu, and in northern China, they refer to it as Kung Fu. The word Kung Fu or Kung Fu really means skill or ability. And depending on what it's associated with, that tells you what kind of skill or ability. For example, if you dance, they may say your dancing is very good Kung Fu. And so if you drive a taxi well, they will call you Sifu, which means your Kung Fu and driving is very good. So essentially, in Kung Fu, they have various levels: student levels, instructor levels, and then there are master levels. And then there is a grandmaster, who is the person that's at the top of the hierarchy. So they're the ones who give all the promotions. They're the ones who examine and promote people who are worthy to go to the next level of skill level, whether it be in internal training or if it's external training. And they design a plan. As Howard was speaking of, you have to have a plan in order to accomplish something. And business plan in Kung Fu starts with a system. That's why it's always referred to as a martial arts system. I mean, there's a structure to the madness. There's an organization to it. So when you see people just hollering and screaming, that's not necessarily martial art. The scream is done for several reasons. It's not done to, it's really done because essentially in the human body you have what is called the alveoli in the lungs. And when the alveoli in lungs have in them something called cilia follicles, and the follicles usually move like this. But what happens is, if a person, for example, smokes, the cilia follicles no longer move this way, so they just actually freeze. And doctors have found out when they freeze, then dirt and debris then go into the alveoli of the lungs, and so therefore the person can't clear it, so they have to cough. And the body induces them to cough in order to bring the impurities and the toxins out of the system. Well, when we use the sound with the yell, it's usually therapeutic, so it's usually to cleanse out the lungs, number one. Number two is designed to focus. You have in the human body 600 muscles. It's causing the muscles to move in one pattern at the same direction, giving you maximum energy so that you get maximum results. Okay. That's the second reason. Thirdly, and rarely is it used of this, but it has a tendency to disorient the opponent, because what did he just do? And in that second, you do what needs to be done.
Okay. Well, I want to go a little bit into your background, and just because this show is about the spirit of entrepreneurship,
okay.
and I like to share about just how did that even become an interest? I happen to know you're fluent in Chinese. How did
yes.
you get into this interest of Chinese culture and medicine? And
it actually came about, Brooke, because I was playing college football.
Okay.
And that sounds very odd. But I actually was playing college football. I needed something to get in shape with. And at the time, I was actually very, very skinny. And I was very fast, but I didn't have the bulk and the muscle. And the coach put me in a weight training program. And at best, when I was wet, I was maybe 165 pounds. And they said, you're too light, you need to get into something to get you conditioned. And I started training in martial art, and consequently, my initial training, I started to develop discipline and focus. And then over time, as you start studying, you start hearing these terms in Chinese, certain words like, we say something like ma bu, gong bu, long bu, and people say, huh, what? And so then they started explaining what these words mean. And then when you understand the language, you start understanding the culture, you start understanding why they do moves a certain way. For example, some styles use shoes and boots, and they use them because of the fact that they would sharpen the shoe as a weapon, so when they kick it would actually injure the opponent. On the other hand, that was because they were in the north. But economically, it meant that economically in the north, the Chinese, they were more privileged. Now in the south, they were bare feet. And the reason for that is because they didn't have the economic structure in play. So as a result that they were barefoot, so they start toughening their feet and their hands, and so as a result of training a certain way, you start listening, you hear these terms, and you start understanding if it's north or if it's south, and it tells you if they're bourgeoisie or if they're a humble pumper. So the strategies were based upon where they were, if they were in the north or in the south. Chinese in the north considered those in the south as peasants, and the people in the south considered the northerners very arrogant. So there was this cultural clash even within the Chinese culture, because for the most part the languages in the south and the north, they can't understand each other, but if they write, they do. So you can say one word in Chinese, it means 4 different things, so you have to be careful what you say. You can say ma 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 ma, and they say what? And one term ma means mother, another term ma means hemp, another term ma means to curse, another means to horse.
Oh,
and so you're
goodness.
saying, which are you referring to? So I learned the culture because it was necessary to have a greater understanding of what it was that I was teaching.
Okay. Awesome.
Right.
Awesome. Mom, I happen to know you are a strict wellness coach, and I'd like to share a little bit about what it is that's important to you and important to our community in the wellness industry. So can you talk a little bit about, first of all, your company, Harmony Nutritionals? What is it exactly you do?
Well, conceptually, I'd like to provide service and product. And it's finally coming together with great individuals like I have on either side. I'm more of the artistic developer of the concepts, but I need people around me to ground me and move it forward. So in other words, I'm like a starving artist. I have this talent, but I need people to help put it in motion.
As we all do. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the component of
Yeah.
every business, I think,
Yeah,
is to have.
yeah. And
built
even
that
though I'm a business
foundation.
consultant, it's like being a doctor. You can't doctor on yourself. It's it's a whole different world. But all I'm saying is that I know there's a dire need in our community. No matter how wealthy you are, no matter how knowledgeable you are, no matter your status, if you don't have your health, you really don't have anything.
That's right.
So instead of cutting your life short with what Western medicine has turned into, and that's away from the natural or what Mother Earth has to give to you, I want to help redirect us, and I want to be one of those African American spokespeople for that. So not only do I want to talk about it, I want to provide the products that the body should have, and they should be all natural. It should be from a plant, and that's why I was blessed with the moringa plant. I'm one of the first African Americans to bring it out publicly, and I've had some missteps with it, and I think I'm being blessed very much so by the people I'm meeting, so that we can get this moringa out to the masses, because it will and can change your life at a very, very nominal amount of money. I mean, $25 a month to invest in your health to turn it around. I think that is a perfect blessing. That's just an example. And when you couple that with wellness modalities, such as what Dr. Warren practices, you can live for hundreds of years.
Okay, well,
So you
It's a
really
little-
can. Age is
out of
nothing but a
our,
number. You know, I don't believe in aging. You know, I don't believe in disease.
clearly, because I know how old you are, and you look great.
I first came in contact with, contact with
Moringa.
moringa with Dr. Fulton.
Mhm.
But I recently came into contact with moringa when I was down in Dallas, and there's a doctor who used to live in Chicago who was 95 years old, and he had been taking moringa powder for a long time, and so I do as well. Because part of the book is being mentally tough and physically strong, and so we eat too much sugar, too much salt, too much fried food in our community. So what they're doing, and no matter, you can have this great plan that you want to have, if you're not around because you are physically taking care of yourself, as many people in our community are not taking care of themselves. So,
But you're not one of them. You're the one of the most disappointing clients I could have had because I couldn't say anything to him. He's already doing so many good things for himself. It's like.
But I did take the cleansing and I lost 8 pounds.
You lost 8 pounds in a month?
Wow.
I did the cleansing tea.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The fiber
But
and lost 10
what I
pounds.
meant is that you're already doing so many good things. I don't get to talk to people who's doing so many good things. So
It's a rarity.
I just couldn't really help you, but thank you for taking
No,
my
you have
cleansing
helped me.
product.
No, because even though it's a long journey to
Yeah.
good health, and we go up and down, and one time I didn't eat red meat, then I had a kid and I started eating McDonald's again. And, so you go up and down, and so at certain points in time, we're all kind of lazy. We all like those things that taste good to us. But when you say, okay, you're going to do this 30-day cleanse, and you start looking a little silly standing there getting a shake while
Absolutely.
I got my NutriBullet in one hand and a shake in the other. So sometimes disciplining yourself is a very hard thing to do. And I got a rule. I'm trying to do that right thing 80% of the time, and I'll cheat maybe 20% of the time.
That's
so
right.
That's what usually happens.
Yes.
So I don't beat myself up about the 20%, because nobody's perfect.
Absolutely.
No, but for the average human being, he's way above it. So I'm saying he just wasn't a challenge for me,
That's
because
we're
he's
trying to
doing
get
everything good.
everybody, right? That's what we're trying to
That's
get
a good thing.
everybody.
You got plenty of possible clients out there. The whole community of folks.
You have a whole lot of work to
That's
do,
true.
Mom.
Absolutely.
That's true. That's true. And I hope this audience is taking to heart that the level of information that we are imparting today is really on a spiritual level.
Absolutely.
Okay, and it's just a matter of meeting principles that are invisible to the eye with that which is visible to the eye, and making them more balanced. Because we are here as an entrepreneur. I believe the real definition of an entrepreneur is someone who is going to leave a mark so that this world is slightly different than when it was before they came in.
Well, I'm really glad I had all three of you here together, because I believe that a part of total health is having that balance of your physical health, your financial health, and you're like a stratosphere. He's the stratosphere of health.
And your spiritual health.
And
Absolutely.
Those three
They all
are
go
on a
together.
continue.
Yes.
You're either in one, the other, and you're usually somewhere along the line.
Right.
And you should be advancing from physical to mental to spiritual.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And many of us get from the physical as a child. We learn education as mental, but then we turn around and go right back to physical into things we want, as opposed to operating on that spiritual realm, which they do more so. And who am I? Why am I here? Am I here to make the world a better place to be, or am I here just to consume? What is your purpose? As one of Napoleon Hill's things in Think and Grow Rich, 94% of the people really didn't know what their purpose was. So we were without that rudder. You don't know which direction you're going in.
That's right.
So you got to deal with that spiritual "why are we here" question. It's paramount to you to be able to get to, hey, I need to save my health. I need to save some money.
Right.
Because if you don't know why you're here, you don't have a need to do it. You just going along with the breeze.
And what's interesting about that, Howard, is when you think about it, in Western medicine, we look at the person, and we classify the doctor by Western standards. When I'm sick and I go to the doctor, and then he gives me an antibiotic or he gives me whatever drug I take, minus the side effects, I feel better. And that's classified as a good doctor in the West. In the East, in China, a doctor is classified as a good doctor in traditional Chinese medicine if the patient doesn't have to see you.
Right.
So if they don't have to see you, it means their health is working and he's told you the right thing, he's giving you the right things. But if you're constantly going back to see the doctor all the time, it means he's a very poor doctor.
Right. Well, thank you all for sharing, the importance of nutrition, financial fitness, physical fitness, and mind fitness. I want to thank our guests, and thank you for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with any of our guests, you can call the number below. Hello, I'm Brooke Bennett. Welcome to Global City Unity. And we are unifying our community in entrepreneurship and entertainment. Welcome to our discussion. Today I am glad to have our guest, Gregory Jones. He is an actor, musician, and community activist. And we have Robert Floyd Plump, president of the Harold Washington Foundation and founder of the People's March Company, and also community activist and producer.
Yes.
And we have Yamar. He is entrepreneur, musician, writer, and lyricist. And welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for,
Thank you.
for coming onto the show and
Thank you for having us.
discussing all the positive, dynamic things you're doing in the community. So I'd like to start with you, Gregory. First of all, I know you. I'm in the acting world myself, so it is nice to see another fellow thespian. So
Exactly.
people might not know this, but by looking at you, they probably should be able to tell that you also are were a double for the late actor
Yeah, Michael Clark Duncan.
Duncan.
Yes.
Yes. Tell us about your experience doing that.
Yes, that was really one of the highlights of my life because I had a hit record at that time when Mike was in Luxembourg. He was filming a movie called George and the Dragon with Patrick Swayze and Val Kilmer. It was an all-star lineup. And I was in the club one night, and some of the guys who props and second cameras who works on the set, they came in the club and they right up to me. They said, "Greg, you know, Michael Clark Duncan, he needs a double, you know, and you from Chicago, he from Chicago." I said, "Where do we go now? Let's go," you know. So I got a chance to go down to the set, and Patrick Swayze was there, and he was the first person I met. He walked up to me and he told me his name was Billy Bob. And I looked at him, I was like, "Well, it's Billy Bob. I thought your name was Patrick Swayze," but I didn't say anything, you know. And come to find out, he was like telling me one of his roadside films of one of his characters. And Michael, he came walking in and he said, "Good evening," and the whole place started shaking, you know. He was a really tremendous guy. And I got a chance to work with him, and it was amazing because the director was Tom Reeves from the Three Musketeers, and it was really, I tell you, man, acting is not easy, like people think. And so it was just a situation where it was a very, very dynamical set. It was a $35 million movie, and actually Patrick Swayze, he got sick, and they cheated Michael Clark Duncan out of like $350,000 by calling me 4 days after Michael left.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know, you know, so I didn't know it. I thought I was just doing some stunt moves for him, and they called me back down to the set, and I actually had the highest form of doubling for someone. Actually, I was acting for Mike because it was a 15th century Moor. We played a Moor in George and the Dragon. It's a British tale. And it was just like, years later, I said, "Oh, Mike, when he meet me, he's probably going to be very upset, and I probably will never get a chance to work with him again."
Oh, no.
$350,000 is a lot of money. But actually, his head was bigger than mine. So the helmet, when I first started the scene, the helmet kept going down over my eyes. So every time Tom Reeves said action, I would walk into the cafe, and I couldn't see anything. So I was like, well, how do I tell them that I can't see, you know? So they don't care. He was like, "Yeah, well, you know, give him a microphone or something." You got all these famous actors from Germany and England and guys who tried out for James Bond. But to make a long story short, it was, you know, Patrick Swayze ended up being my mentor. You know, he kind of like took me under his wing and encouraged me. And one night I had the chance to sing for him at the Hilton in Luxembourg, and I sang a song by Otis Redding, "Dock of the Bay," and he was sitting in front of me with his entourage, and when I finished singing the song, he got up and gave me a standing ovation, you know.
Wow.
Then I knew, I said, "Look, this guy blew me away," you know, and I know what it's like, because to have somebody of that caliber in his field to get up and commend you like that, it was tremendous, and it was an emotional boost. And then afterwards, he invited me to his suite. He said he was having a private party. So I gave him one of my CDs, and when we went up to his suite, he immediately put my music on. I was like, wow, this is incredible, you know, Dirty Dancing, man, and, you know, Ghost, Mr. Ghost. And so when he put the music on, the music started, and he immediately started running around in the room, pointing at people's face, saying, this is music, this is music.
Wow.
I said, this guy's my mentor from here on in for the rest of my life. At Hollywood, look out, here I come.
Here
So
you
that
are.
was, that was, you know, and I still planned on going out there too as well, you know, because, you know, Michael, unfortunately, he left us too soon.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to talk with him, you know, because I actually grew up about 3 blocks. I grew up on Oakenwall, and he grew up on 42nd. So, you know, we probably crossed at one time or another when we were young. We probably crossed paths.
Wow.
So, yeah.
But you definitely crossed paths later on in life in a most interesting way. So you have a background in music, is that?
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, being, you know, actually, you know, everybody in Chicago think they could sing, you know. So when I went to college, you know, I played basketball at Knoxville College in Tennessee. And we used to sing on the road, and, you know, I always thought I had a good voice. So when I went to Europe to play basketball, you know, there's so many opportunities over there, you know, just being American. Everybody's like, oh, you American, you know. So I started taking singing lessons from a Dutch opera teacher, singer. And so, you know, I just got one thing led to another, so I started recording. And my first recording was with a Jamaican guy from Jamaica called Tony McKenzie. And we did a song from Fred Wesley, House Party. That was one of my first songs, the backing vocals. So it turned out pretty good. And then I had a chance to start to work with young artists. And one of the artists that I discovered probably became #1 in the history of Europe. And also, she had a #2. She came #1 all over with Technotronic. She made a song called Pump Up the Jam. I discovered her. And I got a chance to open for Shaka Khan, and got a chance to hang out with Marvin Gaye, you know, because when the stars are in Europe, they more relaxed. They don't feel like, you know, in Chicago, when the stars come to Chicago, they got like 20 bodyguards around them. You're talking about, you want to come to their room?
Right.
You want to come to their room in Chicago? It's like, okay, you better know somebody that knows somebody.
Exactly.
But over there, it's like, well, Slam, what are you doing over here, man? You know, you over here in Europe. You know, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm having a good time like you. So it was fantastic, and it was a blessing to be able to, you know, use basketball as a stepping stone into the music business, because you know, your needs over there, because they don't have the same basketball floors as America. So, you know, your lifespan of playing basketball was only going to be 5 or 10 years.
I'm not aware of that.
What because over there, you know, the basketball is behind. You know, it was like when I went over there, basketball was like maybe 15 years behind America.
Wow.
You know.
And you said the floor is different?
Yeah, the floors were like this hard concrete.
Oh.
They had some, and even the wood was like some plaques that they used to just put out. And so when you jump off of that and you come down, you get the full impact on your knees. So, you know, so music was, it sustained me a lot. I've probably been doing music for about 25 years. I had a couple of hit records, and I got a chance to tour all over Europe, and I've been to China and different places for music.
Awesome, awesome. Well, speaking of music, we have another talented musician here, Yamar. Thank you for sharing about you, and can we talk, first let's talk about the music. I know you're doing other things, but I'd like to start off, I had the pleasure of meeting you because I was co-producing your music video.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so tell us a little about your style of music.
Sure, of course. First off, thank you for having me, first of all. It is pronounced Yamar, Y-E-M-A-R. And music, it's an outlet. It's a way to release. It's a way to share, to be creative. Sometimes it can be used to get things off your chest. Sometimes it can be used to communicate. It's so many facets, so many different directions where it goes. But we know one thing music does do, it brings people together. You know?
Absolutely.
No matter what race, no matter what creed, it brings people together. That's how powerful music is, you know? And I'm just thankful that I'm able to play my part, be involved in it. I do write, I am a writer. I'm a composer, arranger, and it's a phenomenal experience. Yeah.
I would like to say your music is a little, I don't know how to classify it. It's so positive, and I really was pleased to work with you because of, I think of it as more of a conscious style of rap that you do. Why do you think that you lean more towards that type of sound?
You know, I never titled it or classified it.
Okay.
It comes from the heart.
Yeah.
You know, and even though, as I mentioned, using music to share and to reach out, depending on what stage you're at in your life, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, sometimes that's how the music comes out, you know. And as I'm maturing in life, I'm going through different experiences, you know. Being born and raised from the south side of Chicago, at that particular stage in my younger youth, I'm expressing my way on that level. So I wouldn't say it's positive music or negative music. I'm just expressing myself. I'm trying to be relatable, okay? And then, however, as I move to the next chapter of my life, as I evolve, you know, I still have the talent, but now when I'm writing, now I'm expressing at this stage in my life. So at the stage when you and I cross paths, you know, you're hearing me at MBA level, business mind. So of course I'm taking that experience and I'm putting it into my music, you know. When you use that facet, when you use that talent, you'd be surprised how many people you're able to reach.
Yeah.
Versus coming to the youth, being a guest speaker at a school, you know, you can do it. You think that you put your mind to, yeah, I may get a good 5-10%. If I can take that same statement and put it into music and then share it to the youth, now when I'm done, I'm getting phone calls coming to me, hey, can you tell me more? I said, you know, saying the same particular thing, but I'm saying it in this form, you know. You're talking about being relatable. I used that word earlier. So, you know, you and I cross paths at that stage. You know, here I am with this business mindset saying, hey, I'm still from the south side of Chicago. I'm from the same community you are from. But now here I am at this level in my life, you know. So when they say, oh, you don't understand, oh, I understand. I'm from where you're from, you know. So I'm trying to eliminate excuses, saying, hey, if you really want something, you have to just get up and just go get it, you know. But let me be relatable. Let me speak your language or our language, you know. And let me get your attention.
Common ground, right?
So I'm just thankful that I'm able to evolve, however, still have a talent, bring those two worlds together. Now I'm not only reaching people where I am, I'm also able to reach people that are coming up as well. So that's the creativity, and that's the part that really excites me, you know. So I'm excited.
Wow, you sound like it.
Hallelujah.
So I'd like to know more about what you're doing in the community, Mr. Plump.
Well,
Can you share?
As they say, well in Yah Shalom, or Hua, we don't die, we multiply. Like power forever. My name is Minister Robert Floyd Plump, and my beloved godfather, political father, nobody but Harold, the Honorable Mayor Washington, said, we must plump the whole community. So we are plumping up Chicago, America, and the world with our music operation of unlimited, unstoppable, and unknown as to how much of a cause and effect we can have in helping to save the children. Bebe, Ray Ray, and She Ray children all belong to me.
That's right.
And you're welcome to join us at the Swift Mansion location, 4500 South Michigan. We're there every Sunday from 2:30 to 4:30. And for more information, people can go to the Harold Washington Foundation.com, and also be sure and click on United Credit Educational Services. There you will find people look just like you and me, and you'll find some of those positive, beautiful personalities look just like you, sister. A superstar.
I gotta
You're
go to
baby
this place.
Oprah Winfrey. You look so beautiful.
I hope so.
It is a way of life that we can share, because God do care prosperity. And I just also like to mention that I'm the president of the People's Marching Corporation and also Honey Jam Music. And I'm an heir to my brother. He's the president and founder of Honey Jam Music.
Okay.
However, he's in heaven. He's departed. So he left us a beautiful music company. And then too, I'd just like to say thank you very, very much to Global City Unity. See, unity is the key to success.
Absolutely.
Breeds success. In order that we might help stop the violence, robbing, stealing, and killing, and help save our children worldwide.
Right.
I also just like to mention that my godfather, my godmother, Dr. Margaret Burroughs, always ladies are first, and my godfather, Dr. Webb Evans, you know, the black man, we just doing the best we can. We just reminding everybody, get back to black. Please support black businesses for the children's sake, and support our communities by any and all means necessary that we might be successful as a people, moving in the spirit of excellence and giving glory and power to God. And also, there's something that's going to be very unique coming up in the red, black, and green. The red, black, and green is a way of life that we can treat everyone like you like to be treated. And in the ancient days and the Kemet ways of life, the Nubian people, we treated one another as kings and queens.
Right.
And the children was all treated as prince and princesses. We have to get back to that. That is our roots. In the red, black, and green, the most honorable, I would say, Marcus Moses Garvey. And Moses is a way of life, just like our Lord and our Savior, Jesus Christ. A leader, a teacher, a mentor. And I like to think about, when you go to the Harold Washington Foundation.com, be sure and check out my other godfather too. I got so many. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And
Okay.
that's right. You know, I'm one of the students, and I'm a student that's forever
We all
promoting
are.
black power with peace, love, and unity. Without the gun, no violence. We don't believe in no violence whatsoever, especially since my tour in Vietnam. I am a veteran, as you can see. I salute you today, beloved.
Thank you for
That's
your
right.
service.
We salute you in global city unity, because this is a need. And everyone in the world responds to need,
Yes.
greed, or curiosity. So we can leave the greed out of our life, and we can serve, as Dr. King used to say, we all can be great if we just serve. And I can be reached for jobs, when we have jobs for everyone in the red, black, and green, or a business. See, so people can reach me at 312-671-2773.
Okay.
And that's a way of life that we can share. Success breeds success. And you are, and we are the children, and we are the people, and we are the world. So let's start working greater later and better in educating ourselves, and each one teach one, so we would have a better way of life that we can continue to serve God and our people.
And our people.
Thank you so much.
Thank
God
you
bless your
for
heart.
that
We love you.
dynamic, that dynamic speech. You have encompassed everything that I think this show is about, and I'd like to get more specific into.
Well, we're having a convention
I did not
too.
think that all of you
If
were
I
in
might
music. That's so,
mention, we're having a red, black, and green convention dedicated to the Honorable Marcus Moses Garvey.
Okay.
And it's going to be from the 19th of August to the 23rd. See, when I said you were baby Oprah Winfrey, that means you're 23. That means a superstar to me. Yes, Walter Payton is in my family, y'all. I'm 34, and they always call me, my mother and my grandmother and them, they always call me Sugar, you know, Sugar Baby. But they also used to call Walter Payton Sweetness, you know. So
Okay.
we are sweet as honey, and ain't nothing funny about the money. You need a job, be sure and get in touch with us. And no fuss, no cuss. So we just be
Awesome.
about helping God and helping you, and that is all of us. So God
Okay.
bless your heart. Thank you.
And thank you. I would like to be more specific. Let's talk about this honey. What is this? Is this a
Honey
record
jam
label?
music?
What kind of?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is soul music.
Soul music,
Right,
okay.
soul music. We specialize in gospel in what we do,
Okay.
but then we also do hip hop, we do jazz, blues,
Wow.
and we do inspirational music. Music like what Brother Gregory Jones promote in Black Wall Street music. It's music with a message to the people. It's lovable music. It's music that concerns us in the community to promote a better way of life. That we don't do music with the violence, with the disrespect
Right.
of the black sister, the black mothers, the black queen. And we suggest that all of the other people that's in music, as the Honorable Minister Farrakhan has stated many times, and he's a musician too, plays that violin. That's
right.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he
Yes,
plays
he plays the
violin.
violin.
Right.
And he sings too.
Okay.
Yes, I sing.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I
Brother
would
Tom.
like to piggyback off something he just said. Yeah, I had the opportunity to make 2 or 3 songs for the Black Wall Street, South Suburban, which has just changed their name to the Illinois Black Wall Street because they are in collaboration with Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And with Jeffrey Dawkins is one of my fraternity brothers from Kappa Alpha Psi. He initiated the trip. As earlier I heard Reverend Fellows talking about the trip that we went on. It was phenomenal because it was about 50 of us who went down there for the Juneteenth celebration. And it was amazing that in 90 years, to show you how blacks, we talk a lot, but we're still divided in a lot of issues because can you imagine that in 90 years, nobody came down there to celebrate with them? I was like, you got to be joking with me. You mean all the black people in all of America since 1921, nobody has went back. Everybody's using the name Black Wall Street, but nobody's calling where the name
Where
came
it came
from
from.
to go and
Wow.
say hi or hello. But
Wow.
it took one, which of course, a Kappa man is definitely going to be the first one to initiate things. I mean, I'm biased because I'm a Kappa.
That's all right.
And so he called down there. Now he's really sitting on the board of Chambers of Commerce, and he's working closely with the people there. So next year, our plan is to bring Charlie Wilson back. We were trying to maybe see if we get Common or Funkadelic because this year was only maybe about 1,000, 2,000 people there. So next year we're planning to bring about 20,000 people into Greenwood from different areas by bringing Nigerian artists because you know it's a large community of Nigerians who live in Dallas and Houston, and it's only like 3 hours to 5 hours away. And so I'm also the Black Wall Street Songs. I'm going down August 20th and 21st for a festival, and I'll be singing the Black Wall Street song and also making a video on the Memorial Square. It was so emotional, the square which they made on the campus of Tulsa University, where they have the plaques from the sayings of the Indians and all the people that was involved with the 1921 bombing. And I really urge everyone, you know, to really this time, you know, everybody always say they going, we're gonna go, and then at the last minute, you know, everybody pulls out. But this year we have enough time to organize it correctly.
Okay.
And so also I'll be shooting part of the video in Chicago as well. And it's going to be August 15th. We have a block club party, 78th in Maryland. So we'll be shooting some of the parts of the Black Wall Street song in Chicago, as well as Tulsa, like I said.
Okay. I'd like to expand a little bit on Black Wall Street while we're on the topic. Just for those of us that are not familiar. I mean, I think we hear it, but we don't really know what the actual, what it entails, actual system of Black Wall Street. What is it doing? What is it? What are we
Well, you
trying
know,
to
the
accomplish?
1921 bombing of Tulsa, Oklahoma, it was all about unity. And it was probably the highest form of unity in the history of blacks because they had the entrepreneurship down to a T.
Yeah.
It was, and so that had to be destroyed by the Caucasian community because if not, they was going to take over. Anyway, they were supposed to basically, the land was given to them. It was only when the whites found out that it was oil there that basically they came back. So it was a lot of things that they were up against A lot of people call it a riot. That's why they can't get reparation, because they call it the riot of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it's stated in the government doctrine that if it's concerning something to do with a riot, then you can't ask for reparations. So right now the people in Tulsa is trying to get that name riot out of there.
Okay.
Because it was a massacre. It was not a riot, because
That's
I mean,
right.
you had all the guns, you had all the bombs.
Right.
So
Tell the truth.
what kind of riot was that? You know. So the whole point is like now, the people were so excited. We got a chance to take pictures with the 2 remaining survivors, and also some of the children. And you know, I had the chance to sing the song on the square, and afterwards, the next day, they took us on a tour, and 2 of the survivors came up to me and said, "Wow, we really love your song. You know, it's really a beautiful track." I didn't want to bring it today because it's not really finished, and I want to make sure that everything is perfect before I let other people listen.
Okay.
But we're still selling it because it's, you know, it's a raw version, you know. And so we have to really get back to the old spirit. We can't reinvent the wheel, you know, because most of the whites have mostly all the money now and all the property and land and media. So the only thing that we can do is come together by supporting each other. But we still have that Willie Lynch syndrome in a lot of us, where, you know, it's so hard for us to understand that it's about our survival and how we going to continue to have this same title complex, I call it, you know, titles. But then when you look at the end of the year or the 2 years, you look at the background, there's nothing really been accomplished in the neighborhoods, or the killing has not stopped. So what is really going on with all the titles that we possess? So we really need to study the 1921 unity and the love that they had for one another. And you know, I know we can't bring back 1921, but at least we can say that it did happen. It is a possibility. So we should buy black in the sense of trying to get even some of the money, some of the whites to buy black, you know, because they got all the money. So we should be going into their neighborhoods too, telling them, bringing buses, loads of them to come. Like we go downtown, they can come to the hood and buy.
That's
Absolutely.
Right. May I ask also, I mean, just piggyback on something that Chicago, Black Wall Street is promoting peace in the hood with all of the different street organizations to
Mark Allen.
Yes, Mark Allen and Ron Carter and Mr. Gregory Jones is promoting peace in the hood, trying to do some more good with a peace treaty with all of the different organizations in the streets, and to make sure that we can have a better way of life, that we can serve God without doing any harm to one another. So for my brothers and sisters that need the job, come and see us at the Swift Mansion, and we'll be there to serve you.
And what do you, if you want to be a part of Black Wall Street, just come to a meeting?
Well, now Jeffrey Dawkins is, because now what we're trying to do is get all the Black Wall Streets to really come unified with Tulsa, you know, which is going to be very difficult. Wonderful. But he's now trying to drop all the bylaws of all the rules and regulations of what we have to do to become. Matter of fact, I'm starting Black Wall Street in Ghana because I have a lot of connections, because I lived outside. I haven't lived in America for 34 years. I've been back and forth.
Okay.
So it's going to be very important that we create this entrepreneurship to really be, if not, you know, I remember the Nation of Islam had a front cover some years ago, and it was a statue of a black man on the front cover, and it read, he perished because he couldn't deal with his environment. And you see, they said this was like 15 years ago in the final call, and you see now it's coming, it's manifested in exactly what we're doing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing the importance of everything you all are doing and what you're doing to raise up our community. And I really appreciate you all for coming and sharing everything you're doing. So
thank you.
Thank you for watching Global City Unity. And to get in touch with our guests, you can call the number at the bottom of your screen.